You're listening to the Young and Hungry for Success podcast, Season 1, Episode 2. I'm the type of person who I get 10, 20 years planned out, ready to go. Like, it's in the
You're
chamber.
a planner, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, something changes.
Yeah.
And if I don't let it change, it rocks me until I see what's happening.
Right.
It completely shakes me to my core, and that's hard. So you have to be able to accept life isn't going to happen the way you think it is. It's not going to happen the other way you think it is. It's going to happen the way it happens, and you have to be able to change with that. You have to be able to go
adapt.
with it. Exactly.
Because if you're not, you're going to sink.
Young and hungry for success. Hosted by Gleason and Jones. Yeah. Hey yo, young and hungry for success. Always striving for our best. Give our most and never less. Daily grind, the hardest test. Success can be measured in money, fame, and power. Tune into these stories, this the spotlight of the hour. Young men and women grind to make it to the top. Make it to the top, we gotta make it to the top. The tales of daily hustles, it'll never ever stop. Never ever stop, it'll never ever stop. Hey.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Young and Hungry for Success podcast. I am your host, Gleason Jones, and today I am joined by my co-host, Miss Taylor Jones.
That's me. We're back, everybody.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has. Things happen. Computers crash.
Technical difficulties,
yeah.
rescheduling, but we're back on track.
We're here. We're here. I knew you missed us.
So, guys, we have a great podcast for you today. We're going to be talking about something that me and Taylor both know on two different sides. It's talking about starting a business in college. What can be the difficulties? What are the pros? What are the cons? And then we're also going to talk a little bit about what can be the benefit of starting your own business or working for somebody else.
Right, because I started my own business in college, and I actually never had a job where I had to work for somebody.
Right.
Like, I worked in modeling and stuff like that for other boutiques, but not like a job. So that's something that you can relate to that I can't relate to.
You did work for a while at Canucans.
I worked for 8 hours at Canucans, and that was about it.
Did you make or lose money?
I lost money.
She lost money working for Canucans.
I got a W-2, and I think it maybe consisted of $5 because I had to buy 2 T-shirts that I didn't get for Canucans.
And the gas there probably cost like $6.50. So.
Right. So that was cool.
So, guys, let's jump straight into this podcast. So I want to start off by just talking about some concerns, questions that people might have when it comes to starting a business and if it's the right path for them. So the first thing is a lot of people are always saying like, well, if I want to start a business, what do I start?
I feel like that's kind of asking, like, well, what do I do after college?
Right.
Like, hey, what do I want to do in life? That's something that you can answer. That's not really something that you can ask other people, because the question you're going to get back is, well, what are you passionate about?
Because if you don't love what you're doing, whether it's working for somebody or starting your own, it's going to be a job.
Yeah.
It's not going to be something you love that you want to put your time and effort in. Like me and Taylor, we were talking about on the way here. We love to record. We love doing this podcast. We've only done one episode, but we love it. We love getting in here and just talking. Mm-hmm. We are talkers.
Yeah, we could literally talk to a brick wall real quick.
We actually just had to stop talking before this when we were talking. That doesn't make sense. We were talking before we started recording, and we said, wait, we have to save this because there's a lot of good stuff. All right. So that's the basic thing is to start something.
What are you passionate about?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What are you passionate about? What do you want to do with your life?
I think that's really going to have to be something, because, I mean, like, in the beginning, like in high school, I wasn't voted like best dressed or anything. I had best smile. No, I didn't. I didn't have best smile.
Because you didn't have fake teeth.
No, that was before my veneers. I was voted biggest flirt, best eyes, and most likely to check out before a test. So, I mean, what do those have to do with what I'm doing now?
I was not voted for anything because I never showed up because I graduated early and I just never showed up. I slept that last semester.
Same. I didn't show up, but I graduated.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, once you do find what you're passionate about, a lot of people start to struggle because they want to get so into it, but they might have
They want to go
friends.
so far that
Exactly.
they are like, I need to be the biggest and best thing, right? They don't understand that you have to start small and grow.
Yeah.
Because I know it sounds cliche, but like Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is a successful business.
No matter how much you like think you know about it or how much you actually do, everybody has to actually start, and I mean fully start. Like for me, I've grown around the mortgage business for my entire life. And right now I'm out of college, done being part-time, and I'm fully into it. And it's like I'm having to take that step back of not
Knowing each and every small
exactly.
detail, even though you grew up with it.
And so like I'm really into it, and I'm finally like, even though I was part-time, I was doing more of like assistant work or doing like
Right.
setup.
You were
And
the
so
guinea pig.
exactly. So now I'm really into it.
You're
Like
full on
I
in the deep end of
I
the pool.
jumped in, and it's just like I now
Sink or
it's gonna
swim.
it's basically what it is, and that's
Sink
what
or
it feels
swim.
like. And so sometimes I feel like I'm sinking, sometimes I feel like I'm not doing the best, but then I have to step back and remember. And Taylor tells me all the time, Savannah will tell me, my dad will tell me, mom, everybody, that you have to step back and realize you're just starting. Like
Right.
people who are in this industry have been in it for 20 plus years, some.
Right, and they're still learning.
They're still learning, but it's like you have to realize, like, you have to start. Like, you have to just
Do it.
exactly just do it. Shout out Nike.
No.
No,
That is not
we'll bleep
sponsored.
that out.
Nike,
We'll bleep out that.
yeah, Nike, if you want to sponsor, hit us up at the Young and Hungry Podcast at gmail.com.
Stop saying Nike, because every time you say that, I'm going to bleep it out.
But I mean, Gleason, it's the same thing. Like I've been through almost 3 years in my business, and I'm still learning things, and I'm still trying to be like, oh my god, I need to do this. And I still have to step back
Well, I
and
think
say, I can't. There's no possible way. I'm not supposed to be this multi-million-dollar business in 3 years.
Well, I
And
think
it's
that's
years.
the thing. If whenever you stop learning, that's when you fall behind.
Right. And it's like that in any career though, whether you're a cosmetologist and you're doing hair, or you are a multi-million-dollar business, or you could literally be at Chick-fil-A, whatever. Whenever you quit learning is whenever you are done. You don't have any more you don't have any passion behind it.
Right. And so once you find that passion, though, a big thing that people start to run into is they're discouraged by family, friends, outside people.
Yeah.
There's a difference between them trying to discourage you and them trying to help push you to where they know you can go.
Right.
Like, if they're saying, like, I don't know about that, and they're saying, you don't need to do that, that's more of discouraging because they're not telling you why.
Right. Whenever you just, and that's another thing, if you are one of those friends or family that are like going, I know that they can do better, but like, I just don't think they need to do this here. Don't be that person to say, like, no. Like, give a reason. Like,
Right.
well, basically bring somebody an entire business plan of your opinion. Because there's been many a times people have been like, no, I don't think so. And I'm like, well, why? And they're like, I got a gut feeling. I'm like, that is not going to help me create any money when I have a business plan of why I should be doing it. Bring me a full-on binder with bullet points and tabs of why I shouldn't do this.
And why you should at the same time.
Right.
Because if you, I think the biggest thing is if you bring a business plan to a family member, they will either shut it straight down.
That's what I did with Dad.
Exactly.
With the
And
bus.
that's the thing. And Dad, he would not have like gone with it if you had not come prepared. Because that's the type of person you have to find, friend, family, mentor, is you have to come prepared and telling them why.
Right. Because, I mean, you could say all day, well, I want to start a store or I want to create a podcast. Okay. Well, is this a hobby? Is it something you want to make a full-time job? Like, what is this? Because, I mean, people want to support you. Like, friends and family want to support you, but sometimes people don't see your dreams the way you see it. You have to show people how to do that. And I think that's another thing, that there are also people that are going to jump ship as soon as you start becoming successful. And that's hard because I've had friends and I've had family members that have literally jumped ship or I've had to cut off because negativity.
Right. And so that's like, you just have to like either be the person who, if you don't believe in it, that's fine, but don't try to jump back on ship once you see it.
Once you see that money.
If you don't believe in it, that's your opinion. Cool. Just stick with that, saying, you know what, you proved me wrong. congratulations.
Right.
But don't try to act like, oh, I was there all along, because that's fake love.
Right.
There.
And it is. And it's really hard to in college because it is one of those things where, like when I was in fashion and I was already doing my job, and there were girls that were ready to go intern with like Guest or Vogue or literally like anybody else in the world, and they didn't understand what I was doing and I couldn't relate to them.
Yeah.
So it's hard because it's like in my mind in college, I was like, well, am I supposed to do this, or should I go get an internship with like Guess in California and like just put this behind me and then figure it out? So it's hard because it's hard to see past that first year of being in business, being in college, seeing what everybody else is doing, and then saying like, I'm about to take this risk and do it.
Yeah. Because you have to figure out like, is that what you really want?
Right.
And so, like, going back to like what we're talking about, like people trying to say like, oh, you shouldn't do this or that. When I first started college, thought I was going to be a physical therapist.
Oh, I remember that.
My mother and father's advice to me was, don't do that. You shouldn't do that. Is, Gleason, do you understand that there's science in that? Do you understand how much science?
Do you understand that that is all science?
I've never made a B or higher than a B in science.
I don't know if I ever made a B in science. I
And
think
the
I
fact
was
that
a
I'm
C.
calling it science instead of anatomy.
Yeah, like it's anatomy or
anything else,
biology,
exactly,
like anything.
just
It's science. Just straight up like Bill Nye.
That was a fun show, though. Bill Nye is the man. Don't even try to disrespect his name on this podcast.
It wasn't disrespect. It was basic science, and that's what you thought it was going to be. And then they started talking about muscles and bones and.
Bill Nye was the original Young and Hungry for Success in the science field.
100%.
So let's say that you find what you're passionate about. You have people on board, and you have this game plan. You're good, right? What do you need next?
Oh, money.
Exactly.
And people think too, it's like, oh, I'm gonna do this on like just hustle, and I'm gonna do this on like brain. But no, honey child, we need money. We
Right.
need money.
And that's not saying you need buttloads of money.
You don't need
Maybe
$100,000 off the bat.
for certain things. If you're going to start, then yeah, you're going
Like
to
if
need
you're
some
trying to buy
capital.
like a whole car and like flip a car, and then you're trying to buy an entire car lot like straight up,
Right.
yeah, go get you $100,000.
But I mean, if you're trying to start something like YouTube, a podcast, anything that just requires you really just getting into it and you
Start
have to
with the
grind,
basics.
then you start with the basics.
Start with the basics, work your way up. Because again, Rome was not built in a day. We started out with my company with $10,000, and that is money that we had. And we said, all right, let's grow this. We bought clothes, and we bought, I think, maybe $2,000 worth of clothes.
Yeah.
And if you're in the business world or in the boutique world, you know that that's not a bunch of inventory. That's probably
That's like a
4
month.
shirts.
Yeah.
No, that's not even a month, Gleason.
Really?
Literally, because you got to think about this. If I'm buying a shirt that is $10, I have to buy 6 shirts for a pack. That's $60.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and shirts don't come cheap. Like, it's not usually $10. It's usually like $24 to $30.
This is why I buy my shirts from
Mm-hmm.
Old Navy.
So
And-
that's what I'm saying. Like, that's a bunch of money. So that I could literally have 4 shirts. That's not a month. I mean, that's a week.
Jeez.
So that's what I'm saying. That like we started out.
But you were
so,
grinding.
Yeah,
though.
exactly. Because what we were doing, and I know other businesses that they would do new arrivals every 2 weeks, if not once a month. Because I mean, and you know, we do new arrivals every week now.
Yeah.
Sometimes we've done it twice a week because we have to get that inventory out. But we started out slow. Once a week, even every other week, we would put up new arrivals,
Right.
trying to sell that merchandise so we could put every single cent we made back into the business. And that was what we had to do. We had to start out slow. We had to start out small. Yes, I was looking at other businesses that were multi-million-dollar businesses that
And you're trying to model after that. but
right.
you
And
can't-
they've been in business for like 12 years. And
Right.
I'm over here day 3, like, oh my God, why do I not have $10,000?
And you can't focus on that.
No, you can't. And I mean, and there are still times being 3 years in that I have to step back and say, I am not this boutique.
And that goes back to what we were saying is like you have to like go up the ladder. You don't go from day one
Right.
to, CEO.
Right.
You
No.
don't do that. You have
No.
to go through each step, each phase of a business, of employment. You go through the phases.
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, but like we're talking about, like you don't need the $100,000. If you are passionate about something, you find a way to get the money. Like when I bought my first house, I found a way to save that money for the down payment
Right.
and use a different type of loan so I could get in there.
Fun fact, Gleason did used to have a house. He had a house and he rented it out for people that didn't know that.
For like 3 years, because I just recently I bought it when I was 20.
Because it
sold
was
it when I was
before we had
23.
our teeth done.
Yeah.
Because I remember the photo and I was like, wow, we had bad teeth.
Everybody just go to my Instagram and spam that photo of me standing in front of the house and just use the like
You'll
tooth
see,
emoji.
yeah, you'll see just the smiles, just the emoji with the smiles, because I can guarantee you're gonna look at it and be like, yeah, they do have nice smiles now.
Yeah. We did not pay for those. Our grandfather did. So shout out
Shout out
granddaddy.
granddaddy, thank you. Good teeth.
But yeah, so like you just can't just keep trying to jump up there. But you can find a way. If you are passionate about it and you are grinding, you're gonna find a way to start that business. You're gonna find a way to get that first dollar, to flip that car, to get that house, to go to the extremes, to get your first month's worth of clothes.
Oh, I know a girl that she has a multi-million-dollar boutique now, but she was selling like rhinestone belts. Like that was it.
Are those expensive?
No, they're not. But she was trying and she was hustling to sell that stuff.
It's all about how you present
Yeah.
it.
So once she did that, she no longer sells them. But I mean, she always talks about, she was like, this is how I started off 10 years ago.
Right, and because
Was
that's what,
selling belts, like just belts. And now she's a multi-million-dollar business.
exactly. So that's the thing. If starting out where you are does not mean you have to stay to that. You can upgrade. You can
grow.
switch. Think about Amazon. I don't know if you know this or not, but Amazon
not.
started off as a bookstore, an online
No, I did know
bookstore.
that. I did know that.
Do you know why? They Googled, or maybe not Google. I don't know if Google was around when Amazon started, but they looked up what are the 5 most profitable items.
Books.
Books were one of them because this was back
Because
in
books
19,
in college are
something
like
that.
$500 a book.
But this was like a bookstore online.
Oh, I remember it.
And so now they've gone from that. So when you think about Amazon, you think about if like Audible books, Kindles. You can buy books online. You can buy groceries. You can
Oh.
buy podcast equipment
Yeah.
like ours.
You can buy shipping equipment. You can buy hangers, mannequins, literally anything.
And so they took it from what it was to something else. Now they sell everything
Yeah.
from A to Z. So that's what if you look
Have
at
you ever seen how Amazon ships their stuff? They're little robots.
yeah.
You ever seen that?
Yeah.
Like there's like these huge like stackable like things on them, and they're robots that just move it around.
Yeah, that's
that's
AI
why
technology.
that's usually why there's no error in your Amazon package, because it's a robot.
Yeah, but think about like that. They went from that. Amazon now sells their thing is they sell everything from A to Z. So if you look at their logo, a lot of people think it's just a smile. It's a arrow pointing from the A to the Z, saying A to Z with a smile.
Shut up.
Yeah, so like they sell.
Hold
that's
on.
what if you look at it, it
I'm
says
going right now, pulling my phone up, trying to find this Amazon logo.
it's Amazon. Everything. I think it's everything from A to Z with a smile. If you just look at the logo. But yeah, so they didn't start off as that though. They start off as a bookstore.
Oh my God, it is.
Yeah. So you can always rebrand yourself. You can always move up. You don't have to stick to what you're at. It's all about, are you going to hustle to get to where you want, starting off doing something that you know is going to work, and then moving up in the world.
Right.
And that goes into the next thing. Just because you think something's going to happen one way,
Oh yeah.
it's not. Michael O'Neill at my graduation last week, he was the commencement speaker, is that right?
110% didn't pay attention to that.
So he talked about how...
I remember him talking about his IDB page, but that was about it.
So he talked about how in his shower, he has a quote above it that says, life isn't going to happen the way you think it is. And then
I did hear this. I did hear this.
as he's walking out the door, he has another one above his door that says, it's not going to happen that way either. And that hit me because I'm the type of person who I get 10, 20 years planned out, ready to go. Like it's in the
You're
chamber.
a planner. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, something changes.
Yeah.
And if I don't let it change, it rocks me until I see what's happening.
Right.
It completely shakes me to my core, and that's hard. So you have to be able to accept life isn't going to happen the way you think it is. It's not going to happen the other way you think it is. It's going to happen the way it happens. And you have to be able to change with that. You have to be able to go
adapt.
with it. Exactly.
Because if you're not, you're going to sink.
And so that's really like the biggest thing is when you're starting something in college, that you're in college. You've been in college most likely, a few years. Maybe you're just starting off. But
Maybe
you've
you're
been
a freshman.
But you've been in school
Your entire life.
And so when you get out of it, completely different than what you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, because everyone kept asking me, they were like, does it feel like you are late for class all the time? I'm like, no. It honestly feels like I never even went to school.
Right.
Which is so strange. I'd be like, how do you feel now that you're out of college? Like, does it feel like you ever really went?
I don't think it's fully hit me yet because it's like this. Like I think when they start, I've said
when they
that
go
when
back
they
to the
back,
spring, in the
right.
spring, you'll be like, oh, whoa, I didn't have to register for classes or anything. But college is one of those situations that it is what do I need to do? How do I get to where that is? And it's not going to happen the way you had planned to.
Right.
Because I had planned, so Blake and I had talked about, because we're both about to turn 25, he had asked me, what was that? He had asked me, are you where you want to be at 25? Did you think that this is where you'd be? And I was like, no. I had a completely different plan. Fun
too.
fact, I honestly thought when I was 21, I was going to be married and have kids.
Yeah.
I'm almost 25 and I'm not engaged. So and nor do I have children.
Do you feel better about where you are now?
Oh my God. If I was married at 21, there's no possible way.
It wouldn't be this Taylor.
No.
It wouldn't be this boss babe, CEO.
What's up?
And so that's what we're saying is like life is going to hit you
yeah.
hard sometimes.
Oh, and when
In
you get out of
business-
college, it's going to hit you even harder. It's going to rock you, but you have to go with the waves. You've
Exactly.
got to adapt, and you better grab a surfboard and ride the wave because you're going to stop whenever you stop.
Exactly. Because it's a change. It's a change in your life. Every single day, something new is going to happen that you weren't expecting.
Oh, every single day.
And it's going to feel weird. It's going to be uncomfortable. But that's because that's what change is. It's the uncomfortableness because you don't know what's coming next.
No.
And you have to be able to go with that.
Adapt.
Because that's adapting. That's becoming a new person each and every day. And so you just have to keep going with it. You got to keep going with the flow. And so another thing people always talk about is while you're doing all this and you're trying to balance school,
Oh my gosh, time
friends,
management.
family, your business, and most importantly, your sanity. Because that's something that people
Still trying to
ignore
figure
a
that
lot.
one out.
Exactly.
Still trying to figure out how to balance all of that.
The biggest thing is you have to be able to time manage. Like manage time is the biggest thing.
Right.
Because if you are just saying like, hey, go with the flow, that's not going to work. Because
No.
eventually things are going to keep on crossing and you're going to have
Just,
anxiety. You're going to have like
your depression will
depression.
flare. It's
even if you don't think you're that type of person, when life is coming at you in 3 different ways and you're trying to like
you'll catch it.
exactly and you're trying to like just like go a different way, like you have to be able to block stuff out.
Yeah.
Things are going to come up, things are going to mess up. We were supposed to record every single Tuesday. We had technical difficulties.
Right.
We've had
To
family
reschedule,
stuff
we've
come
had
up.
a
We've
lot.
had reschedules. Like it happens.
And Gleason and I live together. So it's like there was a lot of things that were happening. It's not like we could just say, okay, yeah, well, let's just go upstairs and go record real quick.
Right.
It was so much that was getting thrown at us that we literally could not have 2 seconds alone together to actually record.
Right.
So my question to you, Gleason, is how do you time manage your life working as somebody? Okay, let me take that back. That wasn't a sentence.
You try again.
So, Gleason, my question to you is how do you time manage?
My biggest thing is if I know I need to do something, I block out that time mentally.
Yeah.
And like if somebody says, "Can you do something?" I say, "No, I have to do this." Like
I have noticed that.
I get it set.
Yeah, Gleason doesn't change time for anybody.
Right, because that's something that like I have to do. Because if I don't get something done, and it just keeps falling back, then I feel like it's just on my shoulders.
Right.
And I don't like to just hold things on. If I say I need to do something, I'm doing it. Like every single day, I try to call 10 realtors.
Right.
That's something I have to do. And if I just sit there like, oh, I don't want to talk to people, then it doesn't get done. I don't meet new relationships. I don't continue to grow relationships,
Right.
and I don't do anything. So I time block that thing out. When I get to work, I say, first hour, I make calls.
Right.
The next, I can check emails. I can worry about the podcast. I can do this. I can do
Right.
that. But I block out when I know I need to. If I have some spare time, then yeah, I'll goof off and I'll relax and reset.
Right.
But when I have to get something done, I get it done. And
Yeah.
that's something that you need to do, or else if you just have things coming in, flowing and going, and it stops flowing, and you just have everything built up at once,
Yeah.
you're going to get nothing done.
Yeah, and I know that we said to kind of go with the flow and things, and you have to learn and adapt. Time management is one thing that you probably don't want to just kind of go with the flow.
Right.
If you have got important things to do, they need to get done, because if Kim Kardashian and the Kardashians can get everything that they do done in a day, we can.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Even if
It's
we don't have,
we don't have assistants and all
we
that
don't
kind
pay
of stuff.
assistants thousands and hundreds of thousands of
Right.
dollars.
But you know what I mean? Like, everybody has the same hours in a day. So
Everybody has the same opportunity to block off. Even
Right.
if you have work from 9 to 5,
right.
if you have something to do after that,
If
you
you
are
really want
passionate,
it, you really
gonna
want
find
it,
time.
you'll find the time.
you're
because,
going to take the weekends off
Yep.
of like trying to like relax, go to the bars with friends. You're going to do what you have to
Right.
do.
Well, that's what people were asking me in college. They were like, "Why don't you go to the bars anymore?" And I'm like, "Well, why aren't you at the bank?"
Right.
Because that's where I am. I'm trying to hustle. I'm trying to get stuff done. And it's not that I didn't have a fun time in college. I just knew my limits of it. I knew
Right.
that, like, I didn't want to go out the day before I had to put new arrivals up, because I knew I had to edit photos.
It's like if you're have a big exam the next day,
Yeah.
and you're going to the bar until 3 a.m.
Right.
That's just
It
showing
doesn't
that
make sense.
It's not. It needs to be important to you because you need to do good on that test. So
right.
when
So
that,
you
it's
can get
important-
out of college and you can really grind and hustle. But
Right.
something that I do to time manage is I write everything down.
Really?
I love like notebooks and like stationery. I'll get like brand new pens, and I mean, you saw one of my little notepads to either today or yesterday, and I write down like it's dumb stuff that I do, but I do it because I love to check it off, and I know that
Right.
if I check off the little things, then I can check off the big things. So like those are my big rocks and my little rocks. So like my little rock would be wake up.
One thing that I learned that most recently, and like it's a psychological thing, is if you have everything planned, like your planner, you have it in your phone. If you have it all in one spot, like you're not just
Right.
using like 4 or 5 different planners,
Right.
4 or 5 calendars, you stick to it more.
Right. So I
Because
have
you actually like are stuck to it because
Right.
you're writing it in that, and it's consistency.
Right. That's why I have one big planner, and then I've got my little like sticky notes of things. So I've got the planner that's got like the days and the weeks, but then I also have got it to where it is sectioned out in times. So like 8 a.m., wake up. 8:30, meditate. 9 o'clock, be at the store, that kind of things. And
Right.
then I'll kind of section it off to say like, okay, I need to post a try on session. And then it'll say on there, link the products, do this, do that. And I can check all those off. And I know that they're written really pretty. They're done. I've got one that says morning to do, afternoon to do, that night to do. And
Right.
on my tonight, it will literally say like, work on new website, relax, just breathe.
Yeah.
And it's those kind of things. And then at the end, it'll say, rate your day. And I love, and I didn't do that a ton in college, and I wish I would have, to really be like, okay, when do I need to study? When can I do this? When can I do that? So my biggest deal, if you are one of those people that love to like do busy work and write it down, go get a planner. There are like $3 planners at Target right now. Like, they're amazing. If you can
Go
section
on
out.
Amazon, you can find some great ones at like cheap prices.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I
Especially if
know.
you're a student, you get 50% off Prime.
Wow.
I don't get that anymore.
No, you don't.
They literally know when I graduate. Like I got a
Yeah.
message saying congratulations, and then I got a bill for the rest.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's exactly what I try to do. I try to use my student
Spotify
ID.
also.
Yeah.
Even though we have stock in Spotify.
Thank you, Spotify.
They still made me pay regular.
Yeah, but that's my biggest advice. That's how I time manage. That's the best way I can do it, is to literally write everything down. I've got a million calendars everywhere, like a big one, like that shows me what's happening in the business that week. I've got sections where it has my inventory money, my time for that, where I'm going here, everything.
Yeah.
I love to see it on paper.
Yeah. And so that's like your type, is you need it written out.
Right.
Some people, they don't like that. They won't stick to it. If you have like this mental routine that you go through, like for me, like in the mornings, I wake up at 6:30 and I have to send out an email to
I hear you.
the company. Yeah.
Every morning.
And then so when I send that out, okay, I send it out and I get up and I take mine and Savannah's dog, Abel, out to use the bathroom. And then after that, I'm up, I drink a glass of water because
Yeah.
I'm
Hydrate you,
dehydrated.
yeah.
So I'm up and then I'm ready to start my day. Like I take my me time and I'm just ready.
Right.
So I don't have to write that down. But some people like you, I know gives you joy. Like you're like, I'm ready to check that box off. It
Right.
makes you motivated to do the next thing.
Right.
So I think that's like a really big, or a
Two
good
different
thing to
kinds
stick
of,
to.
yeah, two different kinds of people.
Right. So going back to like this business models, if you want to start something in college, I know some people, they're passionate about multiple things, and that's completely understandable. Like people get worried because if what they want to do, or maybe like something they are interested in, doesn't go with their major.
Right.
Like Taylor, did you happen to get a degree in communications, entertainment, anything like that?
No,
What qualifies you for this podcast?
nothing. And same thing with social media. I don't have a degree or a minor in anything.
Right.
It was in merchandising, which technically only qualifies me to work in a physical store and merchandise clothes.
Right. So if it's outside of your parameters of your degree,
Right.
doesn't mean you can't do it.
No, I know people that have got a teaching degree and then all of a sudden became nurses.
Yeah.
Like it's just something. I mean, I know people that got communications degrees and went and did something with sales.
Right. A degree is awesome. Like I am very proud of mine. Like
Right.
I worked hard to get it. Does not mean I have to stick to that for the rest of my life.
No, because what our dad has always told us is that when he looks at someone to interview, his whole thing is when he sees a degree, he knows that means you started something and you were able to stick to it and finish it.
Right.
That's his whole thing. He's like, I don't care if it was in fashion. I don't care if it was in business. If you are hardworking and you stick to something and you finish it, that speaks volumes to people. Like
Right.
I have never, and I've gone on a couple job interviews, never been asked, what was your GPA?
I haven't either.
At all. Like nobody has asked. I mean, you just went on your like first like like an interview.
Yeah.
Did
I
they
went on
ask
a-
for your GPA?
No, because like I've well, I guess it might be a little different for me because I actually was in the industry before that. But I've talked to so many people when they're going
Yeah.
interviewing for a job, they don't have their
GPA
GPA
doesn't
on their
come up.
resume. Nobody's ever asked them for their GPA.
It
You get-
matters. It's great, especially whenever a lot of people have to keep their GPA up for a scholarship. Totally understand that.
Right. Or if they're trying to get their master's or they're trying
Right.
to become like get their doctors, that's important because
That's
you
very
want to get
important.
accepted to that next school. But most like businesses, they don't see that.
They don't care about the numbers. They care about the work ethic.
Right.
Because, I mean, I've interviewed people for the store and I will see all of this stuff. I graduated, what is it, cum laude or sigma cum laude? I don't even
I
know.
stood up for that.
Did
not,
you?
I did not have that GPA.
By the way, Gleason and I had cords at graduation and people asked us about this. Guess where we got those?
Amazon.
What's up?
Check, please.
$12.
I bought mine, and I'm the type of person that I like to mess with people. So I bought a cord that looked legit for Auburn.
Like
it was
orange and blue.
Orange and blue, the navy blue, the burnt orange. And
Perfect.
people started asking, like, oh, what'd you get that for? I was like, you know what? I'm in the business school. Let me go ahead and just this. Said, I was business leader of the year.
I bet people were like, how? How did I not know about this?
And I wouldn't talk about it after. I would walk away after that. I was business leader of the year,
And just
I would
walk away.
I actually wrote that on my thing on my card.
On your card for the
I said
names?
business leader of the year, and I was so hoping that he would say it just so I could see the
Really?
reaction of people. That was gonna be
Oh.
my final
What's up, Auburn?
Like what's up, Auburn?
Yeah.
Business leader of the year, and that's how you get the business leader of the year.
Yeah, exactly.
There is no business leader of the year, by the way. I didn't steal
Yeah,
it from anybody.
I had a pink one because I said my biggest accomplishment in college was my store, and it was the same color as the logo. So, I mean, hello. But like I was saying, when I interview people, my whole thing is about like, what have you really done in the work field?
Yeah.
Like, that is great that you did all of this stuff. It's great you're in a sorority. That's amazing that you had this huge experience in college, but like, who have you worked for?
Right.
What have you done? Because I'm going to be really excited if I've seen that you've worked in my industry. I'm going to be excited that you went and got an interview with Vogue. Like, that's crazy. Even if you went on an interview, I mean, that's crazy and amazing. So I want to talk to you about it.
Right. And so, like, that's one thing is like, so Taylor, like she says, she doesn't have much experience doing these interviews because she was always been working for herself.
Right. I've interviewed people, but I mean, I did pageants. So, I mean, I kind of
how
understand it.
to
I knew
interview.
how to interview and I knew how to set up an interview. Like, I
Right.
knew how to interview people.
Right.
But like, I mean, even in pageants, they didn't ask you, like, so what was your GPA? What was that kind of stuff? It wasn't like that. They more wanted to know, what have you done and what exactly qualifies you to do this? And that's the kind of questions that you're getting out of college. They're asking you, why are you fit for this job? Why
What
should
value
we
are
pick
you
you?
going to add to this
Right.
company?
Because you can sit here and say, yeah, you're going to value me. I'm going to do this. You're going to make me a bunch of money. But on the flip side, how are you going to help?
Right.
What are you doing?
Like, what am I getting for this? Is this going to be I scratch your back, you scratch my back?
Or is this like, I'm going to like completely dress you and then you leave me?
Exactly. Like, are they just going to give you everything? And so I think working while you're in college, that does help set you up if you maybe if you do want to start your own business after, or if you want to continue to work with
Right.
somebody.
If you don't have the ability right now to work for yourself and you're in college, go get a job in the industry you think you want to be in.
No matter what you start, like
Right.
even if you have to start bad, like or not bad, but like
You
lower
start
in the totem pole.
yeah, you start in a entry job.
Right. Like my freshman year, first job in college, it was during the summer before college, and I got a job helping turnovers for he was my mentor for a while for like real estate and renting. His name was Chris Kearns.
What's up, Chris?
Yeah. And so he brought me on. I was making $10 an hour,
Right.
and all I was doing was painting walls,
Right.
filling in holes, moving furniture, just literally doing the turnover that rentals have to have during the summer. And he had, I think, at the time, over 100 rentals, like apartments and a few houses. And so I literally learned to do that. I, showed I was a hard worker and that I knew how to take orders, but also had a I don't know if it's creative, but like I was like a skilled thinker.
Yeah.
Like I could think past things, even though I can't think
Right.
of the word right now.
Yeah, I know
That
I know
showed.
what you're saying. If you know the word, let us know.
And so after that, he was like, I want to keep you on. Like, I want to like take. He basically wanted to take me under his wing because he saw that I had potential.
yeah, exactly.
Because I wanted to learn. I wasn't worried about the money.
Right.
I was worried about I want to learn how to make this. Like, I want to
Right.
learn how to be this.
Right.
And so I started. After that, I went into really doing more investments. Like, he would take me when he was going to do investments. Like, it became the mentorship. And so then after that, he gave me the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, which completely shifted where I was at.
Really?
Like, that is a great book, and you'll hear any real estate investor, anybody in the real estate industry, whether mortgages, realtor,
Yeah.
that book will really just like throw you back. Like, wow,
Right.
this is what I need. This is great. And so after that, that's when I started really getting into it. And so once I left that job, it was, great terms, and I was ready for the next step.
Right. And if you can really get to be with somebody to see how you really want to like be in that industry. Like I know our intern, Sarah the intern, I asked her, I was like, what do you want to do? Like in the beginning, I was like, well, what do you want to do when you graduate? And she was like, I don't know. She was like, I know I want to be in fashion, but I don't know, like, do I want to be a buyer? Do I want to do social media? Do I want to do the inventory? Do I want to be a processor?
You don't have to know.
Yeah, and that's what we took her under us, and Sarah just wanted to learn.
Right.
That's everything she wanted to do. So if you can get somebody, like even if it's not a paid job,
And even if it's not what you want to do,
right?
because
But
you
it's
can
in that.
find-
But if it's in that industry, it's going to be helpful because now Sarah can say like, oh, maybe I don't want to be a buyer, so that helps her. She's still in college and she's still figuring it all out.
I would even take it a step further. It doesn't even have to be in that industry, because when I left doing the maintenance work and like helping with investments, I went to go be a trainer. First off, that showed me that I do not want to be a trainer.
Well, that's
But-
what I'm saying. That like you can kind of see like, is this something you want to do?
Exactly. And so that really got me out of my comfort zone and it forced me to go and talk to everybody, because like I had to tell them what to do. I had to
Right.
lead the class. I had to personally train people. And so it was almost kind of like I was preparing me for what I do now is I have to cold call people that I have no idea who it is and
Right.
say, hey, this is why you should work with me. This is what I can do for you. And so
Right.
that really prepared me. So then also people talk about is how do if I want to run a business, if I want to work with this or I want to work with this person or for this person, what happens when exams, studying, and hanging out with friends, like how do I it
How do
goes
you
back to
kinda
that
balance
time
it?
manage
Yeah.
it and balance it.
It is. I mean, you've got to really figure out, like, okay, which one do I need to take a step back from?
Which one's more important?
Right. Because, I mean, and there are times that you do need to be a kid. You do need to be in college. You don't always need to be going, oh my God, I need to do this for my job. I need to do this for my job. Because the same thing, going back to Sarah, that's what I told Sarah whenever she was in school. I was like, all right, well, what's your schedule? What is going to help us help you do this? Because I want you to learn. I want you to understand this industry and this business, but at the same time, I still want you to go to your socials, and
Right.
I don't want you to stress out about what you can't do for me right now, because I still want you to be a kid. I still want you to experience college. I'm just trying to help you kind of get your foot in the door places,
Know
because
what's worth sacrificing.
right. Because I mean, there was a time that Sarah, I had asked her, I was like, do you want to go out to LA with us and shop? And she's like, yes. So I mean, she got to go out there, but she had to sacrifice a test. But when she got out there, I mean, she got to make it up. So thank you, Auburn. But she got out there and she met with the president of the women's fashion for WWD Magic, which is one of the biggest markets in our industry. Like, we learn about that stuff in school. Like, we have done reports, we've watched videos on it, and not many people get to go out to Magic because it's so, like, prestigious. It's very exclusive. So Sarah got to meet the president of it and got to take photos. I mean, like, she was so excited. So Sarah had to sacrifice something for school to get something better.
Right.
And there's times that that happens, but then there's times that you have to step back from that job and that fun, creative part and actually do school. Because
Yeah.
there were times that I beat myself up because I was like, I cannot get these photos done and study for my nutrition test. And I knew that I had to finish school before I could get to this point. Because
Right.
I was like 3 classes left, and mom and dad were like, you're finishing. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got to finish. You got 3 classes. Come on. So, I mean, there are times that you have to step back from certain things, and it may not be something you want to step back from because you're like, no, this isn't going to be fun. But sometimes life isn't fun.
And just because you have to maybe you have to sacrifice like an opportunity that you're like,
Right.
if I let this go, like it'll never come again. In like deep down, you'll know if this is something that's going to happen again or if it's not. Like sometimes you have to say like, I can't do this because I have to study. I can't do this because I have to work.
Right. And
If-
it's a sanity thing too, that you have to be okay with letting that happen.
More opportunities will come, even though you think like this is my only shot. More than likely, it's not.
Right. I
More
knew a girl too that she's a model, and she wanted to be on, what is it, Hawaii 5-0?
Yeah.
I think that's a show. And it was either she auditioned for that or she went and took a risk to be in Sports Illustrated. And so she gave up that one dream to say, okay, I'm going to go and she had a solid part in this show. And she went and sacrificed it to take a dream leap into being in Sports Illustrated, which she got in. She got in Sports Illustrated, and it was incredible.
Yeah.
But when she came back, she was like, there went that one opportunity. My entire life, I've always wanted to be on Hawaii 5-0. And that opportunity came back again. And she got an even bigger part on the show.
Right.
Because she went and took that risk to do it, and it came back, and that opportunity was there that she didn't think would ever be there again.
Right.
So sometimes you do have to sacrifice it and think like, you know what? If it's supposed to happen, it'll happen.
What is the? I might be completely making this up or, botching it. It's like when one door closes, two more open.
Right.
Another one opens, 2 more open,
When
3
one
more.
door shuts, another one opens, or a
Exactly.
window cracks open. It's something. Because,
Right.
I mean, that's happened multiple times that I have had to give up something, and I'm like, you know what? If it's supposed to happen, it'll happen.
Right.
And then something 10 times over happens. I mean, it was a whole thing where I told you guys that I was in pageants. I competed for 3 years for Miss Alabama. The first year I was 3rd runner-up, and the last 2 years I was 1st runner-up, which is a hard pill to swallow. But in that moment, I had no idea, like, what am I supposed to be doing? I thought this is what I want to do. I thought this was what I was supposed to do. This opportunity, it's not going to happen. Because when that door shut, 10 more opened for me for bigger and better things. So I think that there are times you have to let go of what you really, really wanted to get somewhere where you really need to be.
Right. And you just have to just keep going with it. Like you have to be able to pivot.
Yeah.
Like you see that opportunity
Pivot.
gone, pivot. Next
Pivot.
opportunity. You see something, like, make it happen.
Right.
Make
You
it
really want
happen.
it, do it.
Exactly. So, and then really the last one is a lot of people have questions about is what happens if I fail? What happens if I mess up?
Failure is something, and rejection needs to happen to everybody. And whether you know it or not, everybody has failed. Mark Cuban has failed.
Right.
I mean, everybody successful has failed and had rejection. You may not see that highlight. I mean, behind the scene, because you're seeing highlight reels
Right.
everywhere on social media, TV. You're seeing real life highlights. You're not seeing their behind the scenes.
Right.
So failure. I mean, I failed. I failed so much in my life that I am seriously like, how am I even here? Because it's either I made a bad deal, or maybe I like lost a bunch of money, or maybe it wasn't worth going and doing this. I failed. And people have seen that. I've shown my failure everywhere.
Right.
I'm fine with it because it's a real thing.
I think you learn more from failure than you do success.
Yeah, because you get bored whenever you just keep winning. It's the same thing with Alabama football. Every single time that Alabama wins, it's like, well, of course they did. But then the one time they lose, it's like, oh my God, what can we learn from this? That was a big thing. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I'm not trying to bring football into it because I really don't watch
But I mean,
football. But you know what I'm saying,
That's
though?
in sports and life. Like when you'll see the athletes in sports who, when they fail at the highest level,
When they miss that field goal, how can he do better?
when they miss that last shot, when they strike out, when their pitch gets, grand slam, you can either take that and you can let it destroy you, or you go back and you say, what did I do wrong? What did
Yeah.
I do right?
What did
What can
I,
work?
not what did everybody else?
Right.
Because it's a lot of times, I hate when people do that. I hate people are like, well, it's their fault that I failed. I'm like, huh? What do you mean it's their fault?
Right.
I could literally blame everybody for my failures if
You-
I
you-
wanted to, but I know it's me.
You can't focus on everybody else.
No, because I can't change somebody else. I can change what I'm doing,
Right.
but I can't change anybody else.
You have
So
to
why would I blame somebody else for my failures?
You have to focus on you.
Right.
And what you're trying to do.
Right.
Like, go and bring in business into this, because it's a business podcast. Amazon, they are consumer focused, which
Right.
means that they are focused on what do the consumers need, what do they want, what can we do to get them better. They've talked about it. They're not competitor focused, where they're saying like, oh, what are they doing? Maybe we
Does
can
Amazon
follow that.
even have a competitor?
They are like a retail competitor.
Yeah, I mean, like
So-
we compete with Amazon, but does Amazon compete
No, well,
and is
yeah.
bigger than anybody else?
Well, Amazon competes with like Walmart.
Oh, grocery
Target,
stores. That's
grocery
right.
stores,
Everything
and, like,
now.
Basically, like a lot of that.
Right.
Because they're retail.
So my question about with Amazon too is like if they get an order wrong, which I don't know if I've ever heard an Amazon get an
They
order
get
wrong.
orders wrong. or
Yeah,
it's
but I'm
late.
saying like, but their whole thing is like, oh my God, I'm sorry.
Right.
It's not like, well, you didn't let us know in time.
Yeah. Don't focus on like other people are going to mess up.
Yeah.
And that's perfectly okay to say, like, put your foot down saying like, look, you need to own up to that. Like,
Right.
we'll own up, but always own up to your part.
Right.
Focus on what you can do better. And then people gravitate towards that. Like,
Right.
be that motivation.
Right.
Be the person who learns. Like, who is it? Thomas Edison. He has a quote that says, I have not failed. I found 10,000 ways that won't work.
Yes. Oh my
You
God.
find what's not going to
Me.
work. You find what will work, and you build off that.
Right.
You say like, oh, I'm building this. I'm doing good. That didn't work. If you need to start all the way
Pivot.
over, that's fine. Or you
Pivot.
like you're at the top. You pivot. That didn't work, but everything worked up to there. Let's see if I can do something
Yeah.
else. Go the next direction.
And that's another thing too is like people are seeing, like I said earlier about the highlight reels, people are seeing like, oh my God, this person is like really big right now. But how long did it take them to get to that? How many failures
Right.
did they get to that point? Because I mean, there's a bunch of businesses I look up to and I'm like, oh my God, they're huge. And I've only looked at them for like 2 years when in reality, they've been in business for 25 years.
Right.
And I'm like, oh,
But
I'm thinking I need to be there now and that my failures are just going to put me in the dirt.
right.
And
But
it's not.
You can't go off of anybody else's
No,
time. though.
exactly.
Everybody in life has their own time frame.
Right.
That goes with school. That goes with learning. That goes with business. That goes with, just in general life. Nobody has the same time frame as somebody
No.
else. Nobody they have to keep up like, oh, they're doing this at this age. I need to be doing this.
Right.
No. There are people, when I was 20, I bought my first house. There were people who are 20 buying their 20th, making $1 million deals, but I was ahead of others.
Right. And that's
But
what people were saying, that they were like, okay, well, Florida's time is ahead of California's time. Does that make one better than the other? Just because they're ahead?
no,
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That it's like, okay, just because Florida is ahead of California doesn't mean anything.
right,
It's the same times, but you'll eventually get there.
right,
So, and it's with people that, even out of business saying like, oh, well, everybody's getting married right now. Everybody's having a baby. Everybody's is the CEO of their job. And I'm just now starting out. You have to start. And that's where we went from the beginning. You have to start.
that is the biggest
And
thing
just
for
because
business.
somebody else is ahead, or if you can't see it, but I'm doing air quotes, ahead, doesn't mean that you know exactly how they got there. You have no idea how many rejections they got, but you're just seeing that one positive thing.
Right, just because they're at a higher level than you
Doesn't mean anything.
does not. Because at the end of the day, money is great, fame, power,
It's great, but
it fades.
exactly.
Happiness is the biggest success. You're happy with
Right.
where you're going. You know that you're happy with yourself
Right.
and you're going.
You're
That's
focused on
success.
you. That's exactly what success is. What makes you happy,
Right.
whether it is an A on a test, getting that first $100 in your startup company.
Right.
Getting a dog to not go to the bathroom in your house. Like if that makes you excited, like
Makes me excited.
exactly, like that's success. So don't go off of somebody else's success being like, oh, I'll be successful once I hit this number.
Right.
I'll be successful once I surpass this many followers.
Make success what you like in your head today. Go see what is success to me. What does it mean? And then you go for it. If it is money, go for it. Grind, get that business, get that promotion.
Right.
Start that job. Start that company. Do it. Like go for it. If it's power, get into politics. Get into whatever you want to do.
Yeah, if it's
you wanna be
social media.
famous, yeah.
Exactly. If it's social media and you want X amount of followers, all right, well then that content
Learn.
better that content better
Read
come
books,
on.
read
Right.
websites, see and you can still see how other people did it.
Right.
You're not saying like you have to do everything like your own. You can't, go out for help. No.
Right. Ask for help, but
Go ask for help. See how others do it, but then be able to make your own path.
right.
Don't just be a replica of somebody else.
Right.
Be
Be
your
you.
own person still.
Be you.
Right. Even if doing all that is unorthodox. Like
Right.
later in the series, we're gonna have Jenny and Beth, like we talked about,
Mm-hmm.
how they're making money off streaming.
Which I had no idea what it was.
Right. And
I have absolutely no idea what it is.
And so like that's something that they both love. And it's how they make their money, it's how they connect. And I know both of them personally. They're not worried about the money. They love
They're having
connecting
fun.
with people.
Yeah.
They love having fun doing what they're doing. And that's awesome. That's showing that's success because they're still like grinding, but they're not worried about that. They're worried
Right.
about like just having fun and
Yeah.
doing it. And that's when it's not a job. That's
Right.
That's more of a career. That's a
That's your
lifestyle.
passion. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, I'm excited to eventually get them on the show.
Oh, yeah. That'll be soon. Soon,
Yeah,
soon. Especially if
super
you're listening
soon.
to this.
Yeah, super soon.
So the biggest three things that we've talked about is how do I start a business? Do it. Get
Do
it
it.
started.
Next.
Find what you want to do and start it. Another thing is how do I fund it? Get creative.
Yeah.
Find different ways. If you have to grind and do something small to get into what you want to do it.
If you have to sell your feet pictures, do it.
That is not sponsored by this. We do not promote feet pictures. If that's what you want to do that. But we're going to
Go
back
ahead.
away from that. And then like the last thing is I think Taylor can really talk about this is like promoting a business. That is something that you have to find, especially on social media and like
You have to be passionate about wanting to be consistent. So that's
Right.
my biggest thing. If you want to promote it, be consistent every single day. If you post a good morning videos, post it every single day and make sure that it is something fun and you're excited. You have to stay consistent. If you want to promote, consistency, period.
right. Guys, thank you for listening today.
Whoop, whoop.
This is going to be coming out on Christmas Eve actually.
Yeah, so if you're driving home and you're headed through the snow or you're headed through rain or it's just a night or a day that you are listening to us, happy, merry, almost Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, whatever it is.
Happy holidays. Whatever you celebrate, happy, merry, everything.
Right. And remember guys, Follow us on social media. Go check out our website. Go check us out. Do whatever. Don't forget to stay hungry and keep grinding.
See you later,
Hey yo,
guys.
young and hungry for success, always striving for our best. Give our most and never less. Daily grind, the hardest test. Success can be measured in money, fame, and power. Tune into these stories, this the spotlight of the hour. Young men and women grinding, make it to the top. Make it to the top, you gotta make it to the top. The tales of daily hustles, it'll never ever stop. Never ever stop, it'll never ever stop.